I do have some porcelains in this year. They're actually will blow your head off. They're super hot.
Oh, right, okay.
Super
so you
hot.
don't need a chili then?
No, you wouldn't need a chili.
Well, welcome to a new Gippsland Flâneur video. You might think Gippsland farming is all about dairy, but as you'll see by the thumbnail, the garlic industry in Gippsland, particularly the west, where I live, is thriving. So today I'm off to see Joel White of the Australian Garlic Industry Association, who's got a farm just outside Arawata, to chat about how the industry is thriving.
Wow. Unreal. Well, you've certainly got the views, Joel.
Yeah, they're good. It's pretty nice. It's
A bit different from Richmond.
That it is. That it is. No, it's beautiful.
How's the seclusion?
Oh, lovely.
You like it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
I find it just
I don't mind it at all.
I didn't think, coming from South London to centre of Melbourne, and then to throw myself into this kind of life is bloody hell. It's pretty stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's just spectacular.
I mean, for an Englishman that doesn't want warmth and heat, this is perfect.
Oh, well, you just wear more clothes, and we got the heating in the house. That's
Yeah.
all you need. So
Yeah.
it certainly is. It's oppressive weather out here. I mean, there's no question about that. If you're not doing this, I don't know why you'd be out here, but unless you like fires and red wine and reading books,
Yeah.
that's great. But
Yeah.
no, the weather's pretty oppressive. But we've had just great weather this year, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is
So what we got?
So this is the garlic. So this is basically the beds that are here that are uncovered.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough seed stock to grow in there, so I'll be putting in another crop in there. Put some broccoli in there.
Right.
So normally this is the size we had last year, and
Yeah.
I'll show you that down there. That's a bit of regen we're doing down there.
Okay.
With terms of regenerative farming.
Yeah.
Because garlic basically you can't grow the same paddock every year. So you got to give the paddock at least one, best 2 years break between growing the garlic.
Yeah.
So we kind of got to rotate the fields down. So I was actually hoping to have double this year, but we just didn't get the seed stock to do that. So
you haven't had your first few years where you had a good
well,
you've had this.
Yeah, just had a bit of it, and also being regenerative, you get you're dealing with soil health.
Yes.
And if you don't get it right, I mean, Mother Nature judges you really harshly.
Yeah.
So and Mother Nature will tell you've not done a great job with your regen farming.
Yeah.
So when you're not using synthetics and chemicals, it is about getting that soil health right. So this is actually a pasture. So before we laid our beds, we had cattle in here. We call it crash grazing. So we had 40 head in here, locked them in here for about a week. So the grass was actually down to nothing. It was pretty bare.
Yeah.
So lots of poop and pee in the ground. So then we prepared it. Then we prepared the field with our organic input. So organic pelletised. We've got very acidic soils here, so we have to lime it. Which is organic lime,
Yeah.
and then just a couple of other a bit of phosphorus.
Right.
So we had about 7 or 8 inputs to go in. Then we prepare the beds.
Yeah.
And obviously you can see with the beds that aren't covered, this is what happens if you don't cover up here. It just gets full of weeds. So I'm going to have to weed all this when I plant.
Right.
But it's not a big deal. I can do that. It's fairly easy. But the
On
beds.
your hands and knees, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll just pull the stuff up, and
Right, yeah.
I might even run the hoe over it again.
Yeah.
But this is what we got this year. So these are all planted out. Some of it's not emerged yet, or it's starting to emerge.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff over here is sort of coming up quite nicely.
Right.
So this is.
But your yield is going to be, and it's all weather-wise, basically, down to.
Well, garlic's a very finicky plant, and again, that's part of learning how to grow it.
Yeah.
But also, that's why we keep our own seed stock, because the plant will actually learn to grow in your soil and in your area. So over time, hopefully, it will adjust itself.
Okay.
And grow better.
Yeah.
And also, we just over the years been working out what varietals work. Okay. So we've got 10 varieties in here of different kinds. So we've pretty much settled on the varietals called Creoles. So we had turbans, we had porcelains, we had purple stripes and things. Basically anything with a purple stripe never worked and didn't grow, which is the ones that look really good, which is a shame. But we have mainly Creoles in here.
Is there an Australian garlic?
Not really. It's not a
It's a-
native plant.
no,
It's
it's not a
been
native
mainly,
plant,
they've all
right.
been mainly imported
Yeah.
from seed stock. And the Australian Garlic Industry Association was the main organisation that did all the importing
Yeah.
initially.
Yeah.
So yeah, all these varietals have been imported from overseas.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to see varietals that you don't see in a supermarket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are just emerging.
Taste-wise, do they?
Oh, it's so different. It's amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're amazing. We first started growing here and growing these varietals, you know, you get the Chinese stuff in the supermarket. It's just,
Wouldn't touch it, mate.
yeah, it's
Wouldn't
just,
touch it.
it's-
I mean, those small bulbs in a bag of 5 of them. Wouldn't go
yeah,
near them
no,
if you
there's just
paid
no,
me.
there's no flavour. These
Yeah.
Creoles, really hot,
Yeah, right.
have a
Yeah.
real heat to them.
Yeah.
And then depending on the varietal, they'll have a different finish. So one will have a nutty finish, one will have a more garlicky kind of finish. That sounds silly, but
Yeah.
more garlicky. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they all have a different kind of taste profile.
Uh-huh.
I do have some porcelains in this year. They're actually will blow your head off. They're super hot.
Oh, right. Okay.
Super
so you
hot.
don't need a chili then?
No, you wouldn't need a chili. And actually, with the Australian Garlic Industry Association Awards, we had one of the MasterChef guys judging last year. And
Yeah.
I tried these for the first time at the awards, and I said to him, "You've got to know you're cooking with these,
Right.
because they're so different."
Sure.
Like he said, "Yeah, you would. You'd have to absolutely know what you're
Yeah.
doing with them." So, so this is sort of planted. These are starting to come now really well. This is coming up. We do a process called flicking now, where we actually go through and actually help them out.
Right. Okay.
So there's one there, and this is my weeding, which is good. So we help him out.
Yeah.
If it's a sunny day, you go through and just flick them out, get the dogs off, get off
Right.
them, get off.
Get out of it.
Yeah. So these are this bed's what's called a French Creole. They've got an Italian late. It's a
Okay.
nice. It's an odd-looking garlic, but really get a bit of heat in it, nice and spicy.
So presumably each garlic would produce a different yield.
The
per
Creoles
run.
tend to be like, in
That-
terms of, you see the big ones in the supermarket, they
Yeah.
tend to be smaller anyway, but that's more intense flavour
Yeah.
in there.
But in terms of weight and whatever, each row of these, which different varieties or whatever, what is going to produce different?
Should be pretty similar.
Right,
The
okay.
purple stripes tend to be bigger ones,
Yeah.
but the Creoles, particularly these ones, French Creoles.
So what would you hope from one run? How many kilos?
Well, there's about 1,000 plants in here, so
Yeah.
you want about 50 kilos
Right.
out of
Okay.
here. So it's not very scientific. With 40-metre rows, because my sprayer's got a 20-metre hose,
Right.
so I can walk up and down the aisles and fertigate them during their growing. So
Yeah.
probably start with these ones now. Just give them a little bit of sea salt and some other kind of foliar fertiliser,
Yeah.
just to keep them going. Even though hopefully we've done enough work in there now to get them through to December, but we always give them a little top up, bit of sea salt and another little foliar fertiliser, which is sort of a nitrogen.
So we're in, what are we in? Early
July,
July.
early
aren't we?
July,
Mid-July?
yeah. So another
So what's
5 months to go.
so what's the work? Yeah, sorry, five
Yeah,
months,
so basically
sorry.
just weeding. So I'm in pretty good shape so far. There's a few weeds up there, but yeah, really just go through this time of year. So we're just helping them out.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
through and do what's called flicking.
Yeah.
So just get them out so they start photosynthesising.
Yeah.
Get them out of the matting. Also with the matting, it's a little bit loose. So if you get a windy day, it can actually break them.
Yeah.
So then they've got to start again. So just help them out.
Are they all grown on is it advantageous to be grown on a sort of like a vineyard, to be a certain face of the sun, or on a hill, or?
Full
like that?
sun, yeah. So that's north. So
Yeah.
they'll get full sun all day here.
Right. Okay.
So full sun's pretty much what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is actually an old airstrip. That's why it slopes. So this was an airfield we're growing on. So
on a hill.
yeah.
Well, we're in Bogota. So one of those videos. going
But
on.
it's been pasture since we've had the farm.
Yeah.
So and we just off this area before we started growing garlic here, we were getting 15 bales of hay off here. So those
Right.
big
Wow.
rounds up there.
Yeah,
So it's pretty productive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And when we had it with the beds made, it looked really good. The soil. So
Yeah.
up here we've got what's called a clay loam soil.
Okay.
So it has
So
the aspects-
who's buying? We obviously can't see these in the in the Woolies and the Coles, presumably.
No, as I said, there's this tends to be, well, we're probably one of the smaller growers.
Yeah.
Being this size, we'd like to be twice this year, but we're half we were last year because of our yield. But most of the growers
Twice this would be what,
this,
down the field?
this
or
and
just,
again, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
we're hoping to
yeah.
do that this year, but we
Yeah.
didn't get there. We're hoping to do about 2 tonne
Right.
a year.
Okay.
And the growers around us would be anywhere from half a tonne to 2 tonnes, maybe some would get up to 3 tonnes.
Yeah.
In this area, because really, as I said, we're hectare and less is kind of what the growers are.
Yeah.
Just because it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and also, we are growing these varietals that aren't what would be considered commercial.
Right.
So, Italian Lates and French Creoles and.
So who's buying them, mate?
Well, we do a little bit through markets. We do a lot to other growers who want seed.
Right.
But we've been trying to keep our seed to keep expanding. So
Right,
we're not really commercial yet.
Yeah.
I was hoping to be this year, but it didn't
I
happen.
mean, is it the kind of thing that that you're educating the chefs and whatever?
Yeah,
or-
that's definitely so. Part of what the Industrial Association is what we're doing, and we're sort of doing two things: educating the chefs and consumer, but also educating our growers so we can get these guys up to 2 tonnes. So we
Yeah.
can, be a little bit more aggressive with the market. Because as a country, we import 80% of our garlic,
Yeah.
and 80% of that comes from China.
Right. Exactly.
So there's a tremendous opportunity
Yeah.
to grow garlic, and as you can see from a small patch like this, if it was perfect, it's probably $5,000 to $7,000.
Yeah.
So it's worth doing, and you double, triple that. You're starting to, you're getting for a small piece of land, having a reasonable return because consumers are looking for Australian garlic.
Yeah.
It is different. It is absolutely different.
Sure.
It tastes better. It's
The varietal
varietals
from within coming up, the same varietal coming from presumably Italy or France is better tasting off a.
Yeah, well, so you tend to find that in
Australia.
the big producing countries,
Yeah.
they'll only have like one variety.
Right,
If they want commercial varieties, because it's expensive to grow.
Yeah.
So even in Australia, you've got the guys who are doing 30 hectares. They want to make sure it works.
Yes.
They're not going to stuff around like I have and lose half your crop in a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
That's big bucks.
Okay.
Whereas we can afford to kind of mess around with these nice little varietals, these kind of heirloom or
Gotcha.
niche varietals, which produce a beautiful product. Yeah, and so if we were sort of the scale we wanted to be, we could quite easily supply a few restaurants their entirety for the year, and they'd have a great garlic, and it would really differentiate them.
Sure.
Also, yields in terms of cooking, the yields are better. You don't need as much of this to produce the same taste as you would a Chinese garlic or the biggest commercial varietals.
Once it's ripe, is there a way of
Yeah,
storing
so
it?
basically we have you might probably see we've got a little shed down there where we put the garlic in. So we harvest in December. It'll sit in there till February,
Right.
just curing. What's called curing. So we just use big bread baskets.
Yeah.
The shed down there has lots of airflow. We've got shade cloths up everywhere to keep it dark, and it sits in there for 2 months, and then we bring it out, and then we select our seed stock, select what we're going to sell, or then we actually fortunately have a skinner, so we can process the other stuff. So we'll actually skin it, slice it, put it through the dehydrator, where we can make salts and flakes and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Well.
So this is this year's crop. I can show you what we last year and what we're doing with the regenerative piece,
Let's have a look.
which is interesting, which we actually are doing out on the farm as well.
Okay.
So what's happening down here is what we're doing out on the property with
That's your cows down there.
yeah, that's our cows in there.
Yeah.
So really around soil health and the main thing we're doing at the moment with some of the areas trying to fix some of our problems, either with nutrition or where we're working at the moment on waterlogging, is using multi-species pastures.
Right.
So we've just done that. We're on a crop we had last year down here.
It's a species of.
So we use varietals of clovers, brassicas, so we forage radish, and we have deep-rooted perennial grasses, so a tall fescue, a phalaris, and ryegrass. So to really get those roots down into the soil and start really helping the soil health and the microbes and the fungi really start working, doing their magic in the soil, which is basically what regenerative farming is about.
Sure.
It's all about absolute 100% focus on soil health.
Yes.
So that includes making sure your inputs help the soil, don't fight against it. So you don't want to be putting things for short-term gain like chemical fertilisers. So that's why nature marks you pretty hard. Regenerative farming is it might take you 5 years to get where you want to be.
Right. Yeah.
But you've got to start.
Yeah, sure,
And you've got to start doing those things. So you can see this pasture here is pretty bad. Lots of broad-based weed, a little bit of flavours. But basically it's not great. But if you look what we've done here, just a little bit down the road, you'll see we've just kind of put these species in, and that will hopefully give us a good result maybe in a couple of years' time when we come back onto this field for garlic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so this will have about a 2-year break. So you can see the brassicas we use. So the forage radish and.
I've got to ask you first. So, where did the planes came into land, downhill or uphill?
Well, he would land probably this way and take off this way. Yeah, so this is the east-west runway, which is actually quite long. The house is there now, but the north-south runway is only 110 metres. So he actually would drop off the edge of that and come back up again.
Okay. Would that be for what, like the old crop sprayers?
Or So this is kind of a multi-species pasture. So we've got the radishes, a bit of clover in here, a bit of clover, some of the deep-rooted perennial grasses, more grass over there. But this is designed to bring the soil back up.
Yeah.
Because all the microbes then, each plant will perform a different role in the soil. Will bring in down different, or ask for different nutrients. And so in about 2 years' time, we'll come back on this pasture for garlic. And we won't do a lot with it in terms of fertilising it until we want to grow again. But hopefully these multi-species pastures will do the work for us, which is what it's supposed to do. So we'll let this grow out and then we'll graze it again. And the cattle, because the cattle perform a big function as well. So they'll take the tops off, that kills the roots down the bottom, microbes eat the roots, and that brings the soil back up. So this will be grazed, but only once this is established. So it's probably about 9 months to establish this.
Yeah.
So some of the grasses aren't even up yet.
Yeah.
The clover's over there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So that's how we regenerate after growing the garlic.
Yeah.
But also it remains pasture. So we'll once that's established, we'll then graze it. So the forage radishes, and you can even use forage turnips, which we're using out in the property. So we've got this out on one of our paddocks. We've got waterlogging.
Right.
So they'll go down, produce their fruit or their vegetable.
Yeah.
That will expand in the soil. Worms come in and eat that, so we get the worm life going. That opens up the soil, and hopefully then the water can get through and we can solve our waterlogging problem.
Right. Yeah.
So we're using nature to fix some of our problems that probably we've created over time on the property.
Yeah. So this property, you've only just moved. You've had it for.
We've had it for 10 years.
10 years. But what, somebody was farming it for you, or?
Oh no, we're farming it. Yeah, we were sort of
beforehand. When you were living up in the city.
Yeah, we were coming here every week. I was living in that.
Oh gee. Oh, right. Crikey. Wow.
And
so when did you click on to the regenerative?
It's something that's always interested me.
Yeah.
When I did my training before I bought the farm, we were trained using principles of Joel Salatin and some of the other great regenerative farmers. So it really just made sense to me that what they were saying just makes sense. You work with nature, not against it.
Sure.
And then you're just going to get a better result for your animals too. So that grass now is more nutritious than if I put superphosphate on it.
Sure.
So my animals are healthier, and hopefully I produce a better product.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is what we want. We want to see healthy animals, big animals, and we want to see them, not struggling to grow or finish, but to finish.
Yeah.
And we've generally done that pretty successfully. This is great country though. I mean, we're very fortunate.
Sure.
So it's very heavy carrying country, but now we've just got to look after it, make sure we don't turn that into this.
Yeah.
Which is your broad-based weeds and.
Yeah, sure. Okay, mate. Right. Well, anything more, or should we leave it there?
I think that could be it. Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for letting us come along and showing us out here. We'll get to see your shop in a few weeks' time.
Yes, looking forward to that.
And we'll enjoy the festival Come, what was it, March
Yeah,
next year?
it's February,
March?
late March, early February next year.
Right, early February.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have the Garlic Festival up again.
The festival in question is the South Gippsland Garlic Festival, which from 2025 is going to be held at the Corranborough Showgrounds, bringing together garlic enthusiasts, food lovers and families to savour delicious food, live music, cooking demos and much more.
That'll be very exciting for the
Well, yeah,
township.
maybe I'll pop along and see one of your other growers
Yes.
as well in that time.
Yeah, look, there's, I'm by no means the best. So there's certainly some guys out there doing a really good job, and you'll see a different way of growing, and their methods will be very different to mine and how they go about it. So
Great stuff.
yeah, so it'll be
All
good.
right, mate. Well, thank you again for allowing us to come and see this wonderful place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, it's great country.
Thank you for watching, and if you like this content and want to see more Gippslanders' passions, please do like, comment, subscribe and share. It's free and really does make a difference.